Good afternoon and welcome to More Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be covering the three figures that came with the Hisstank. There's also Retro Cobra Commander, but seeing as I just left him in the box, I'm not really going to talk about him. There's not really anything that this blind man notices different about him than other figures. So, the big important thing about him is the paint app, and so I'm just going to keep him safe and secure. Meanwhile, though, we can talk about the Hiss driver, the Hiss gunner, and the Hiss-Tactician. I hope I got those right. See, what I figured is that the driver is beefier than the tactician, but it's difficult to figure out which one of those two is the beefiest to determine which one should be the tactician and which one should be the driver. I think it's wild that both of them are beastly, and honestly, I do wish they had they had given the female figure more beef. She needed to become like Brienne of Tarth kind of beefiness. Like, yeah, I was expecting that. Big woman, huge shoulders, thick arms, kind of that. A man's man is a woman. Brienne of Tarth, just a beast, bear woman. Awesome, awesome character, and I love it whenever they do female characters like that. They give us big, strong female characters that aren't too sexy. That's the stuff I enjoy whenever it comes to action figures and stuff, because that's soldiers. You get female soldiers that are just beasts. They're amazing, and they're super strong and they're super tough, and they can beat any man down. And I like that stuff. I think that stuff is really cool when action figures do it, and I'm a little sad that they didn't do it with the gunner. The gunner is so much smaller than everybody else. So we're going to start today's video off by doing some size comparisons, and then we are going to move directly into talking about pros and cons. So let's go ahead and remove the backpack of the Cobra Bat, who won 2022's Best Figure of the Year, and he is not up for re-election, so somebody is going to be winning. So let's go ahead and compare these two. We've got the Cobra driver behind the bat, and wowzer. The Cobra driver plus his helmet is the same height as the bat. This Cobra driver is a beast. He's a big boy. He's a biggin. Now let's see. Side-by-side comparisons. Driver's shoulders and bat shoulders almost exact. The driver here is just a bit wobbly. He is very wobbly for a brand new figure. Alright. Nice little side-by-side with those two. And then we're going to move. Let me set the driver off over here. Don't fall. And let's get the gunner. Now gunner and bat. Set them back to bat. And we get the gunner goes halfway up the bat's head. So as a female figure, that is a bit taller than normal. Though her shoulders are lower than the bat's by a significant margin. So sadly, she's just she's not as big and sturdy as the bat, which is a shame because she is the gunner and she's supposed to be carrying around all these weapons. So I hope that's really condensed muscle she's got there. Yeah, it's going to be really hard for you to carry around some of these big guns that we have in this. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and set her over here. Try not to knock anything over. Okay, now let's go ahead and grab Tactician. Let's pull the pad from his hands that came with scrap iron, because I felt that, I was like, the Tactician needs a Tactician computer. He's got a little one on his wrist, but that's for emergencies. So, I think this guy's got the computer on his wrist, doesn't he? Or did I confuse Tactician for driver again? Man, I keep confusing the two. They are so similar to one another. Now let's go ahead and straighten him out. Okay, Tactician here. Now we may actually be getting that wrong, so we're going to have to tell later, but first off, let's go ahead and get the size comparison out of the way so I'll get into the review shortly. So let's put that. Wow, you're a bit taller, aren't you? I definitely may have confused them. No, you're about the same. Shoulders are the same as Bat's. head is the same as b.a.t's, just maybe a slightly more. Um, Weight-wise, that's about the same as the b.a.t. Actually, I think the b.a.t's got a little more to him. Yeah, the b.a.t does. The b.a.t's a bit heavier. He's a beefier guy. But then again, I do have a couple of things on him. But it's still, he does seem beefier and a bit more solid. Like, I shake the b.a.t. I don't know what that was. I shake the b.a.t. Nothing. I shake him. Ooh, all over the place. Oh, my. All right. Let's set the b.a.t off to the side. Oh, it was driver. No, gunner. Gunner fell. Okay, so we're going to set that down here. There you go, b.a.t. Live down there. Okay, let's get into these things, and then we're going to get into the accessories. We got all the accessories piled up over here on the side, and we're going to talk about those. I forget which comes with which, so we're just going to talk about all the accessories as a group in today's video. Now let's talk about gunner first, then we'll talk about tactician and driver and determine which is which. Because if you're blind, how do you tell? So we're going to learn that today, how to tell the difference between driver and tactician if you're visually impaired. And we're going to learn about these figures. So let's talk about articulation first. There's a nice up and down on the arm of them at the gunner at the deltoid, but it doesn't. We don't even get a full 90 at that deltoid movement there. That's a shame. Yeah, it's a little less than a 90. I'd say it pulls an 80 at the upper motion. She can rotate her arm 360 degrees though, at the shoulder. Bicep swivel going on there. Double jointed elbows for females. That's awesome. We've got a wrist swivel, and she also has a little wrist computer so she can keep up with the Hiss-Tactician and what he's telling her to do. And on her other arm, she's also, I think, nope, she doesn't have a computer on the other arm. Actually, I don't even know if that's a computer on this arm. That may just be some really nice feeling armor around her forearms. That could be it. Now, she has the same breastplate that everybody else has. It's just that hers is sized for women, so it's a little smaller, and it has an extra pocket in the front. So there's the pocket is a term that scuba divers use to determine the difference between a female wetsuit and a men's wetsuit. Like if a guy's wearing a female wetsuit, they say you have an extra pocket in the chest area. So that's kind of what I was meaning there. Coming over here, we've got the swivel of the waist. She can go 360. She can also rotate her side back and forth decently well. She can bend forwards okay. She can bend backwards okay. But she doesn't have a ab crunch, which is honestly a shame. Like, come on, if you had made her as big as Brienne of Tarth, you could have given her an ab crunch. I thought that's what we were getting when we were getting the female gunner, is we were getting somebody like Brienne, because all the people that deal with the Hisstank are huge, and because they're genetically modified by Cobra. So, wouldn't have thought we would be getting that, but we didn't. Though the breastplate is nice because it feels like it's a separate piece that can be taken off if you so pleased. It's really very bland though in the front. Coming down here to her waist, we've got we actually don't have a big bubble butt. We do have a bit of a butt, but it isn't as big as it could be, though the butt panels do come around to the sides, which do stop her from kicking backwards at all. Like she can kick kind of backwards off to the side, and then kind of backwards off to the side here, but then it looks like she's wearing a pair of Depends, which is a shame. I really wish they would try to figure out how to fix that problem with the butt. That is really annoying. Now we move them forwards at 90. They can kick sideways at a 90. And she has drop-down hinges, but very limited drop-down hinges. Did I also mention that she has those shoulder swivels for that shoulder swivel action? Okay. Coming down further, she's got thigh swivel. And then she's got double knees, nice double knees, really sturdy double knees, very strong knee connections there. Her foot can spin all the way around, and it's on a ratchet for the ankle tilt. So she has some sturdy legs. Now let's talk about sculpt work, and the sculpt work for all these guys is the same basically. So we'll try to go over it and understand that when I'm going over sculpt work, I'm going to be talking about certain parts for everybody, like the legs. The legs for all of these guys are the same type of sculpt work because they are a unit. So that's the fun part about this is they're all the same but yet slightly different because they're all different components of the same unit. So we've got this flat facing armor, like it's just perfectly flat in the front, but it rounds out to the back of the leg, and that's some nice shin guards. You got flat steel shin guards. Nobody's going to be kicking you in the shin and making you go ah, ah, like Peter from Family Guy. The knee pads are pretty cool. The boots are decent. They're really shiny boots, and they have some wear and tear in them, but just a couple of creases. Though here's a negative to this series: they didn't give us any bottom boot print. We didn't get any sculpting for the bottoms of the feet, and I'm a little sad by that because GI Joe Classified, you guys have been doing the bottoms of the feet for just about every figure. Why you don't do them here, I don't know. But I do appreciate that this is a female figure without high heels. I love that. So that's the legs and the feet. We come up here to the waist area. She's got a kind of a butt. She's got some armor on the front of her groin area. Come over here to her belt. She's got a nicely textured belt. I mean, that's definitely leather texturing in that belt. It's really good. Then in her breastplate is a very smooth, waxy substance that feels a little icky to the touch, but not in a bad way. It's just a weird texture. Um, it's rubberized, that's for sure. It's just a really unique texture. Coming down over here to her, and that breastplate takes up her entire front. Like you go belt, then there's a little bit of midriff there, and then breastplate goes all the way up to her neck. And we've got some textures of the outfit she's wearing underneath the breastplate. And it'd be interesting if you can take this breastplate off and discover the rest of the outfit. I wonder if they did that. Now she does have the side to side, but her side to sides, and I am drawing a blank on what that's called. All of a sudden, I've talked about that for many times before, and my brain just decided to throw the word out today. Okay, so that movement where the shoulders butterfly action. The butterfly on these is very very loose butterfly. That's the word. Coming down here to her arm, she's wearing some sort of neoprene fabric or something like that. It doesn't feel like it's cotton or anything like that. It feels like it may be sturdier than cotton. And then she's got some forearm cuffs, maybe extra forearm armor, or that's a computer that I'm having a hard time feeling out. So that is her. Headwise, this is going to be a negative that hits everybody. No removable helmet. You know how I feel about removable helmets. I absolutely love them, and I think that they just make it enjoyable. I love me some removable helmets, but she does not have one. Her head is a helmet, and her head can move around 360 degrees, crack left, crack right, look down decently far, look up decently far. She's got a good head on her shoulders, and the head is very squeaky. Listen to that squeak. Oh yeah, squeak. Okay, so that's the gunner. Oh, and also they have like this cool mohawk on all the Hiss-Tank people on their helmet. That's like spikes going down the middle. This one's very limited. It's more of a rougher texture than spikes, but that's still pretty cool. So we're gonna set her down over here. There you go, Mrs. Gunner. Now let's go ahead and figure out which one of these is the tactician and which one of these is the driver. Let's put them back to back first. Hey, excuse me. Now let's put them back to back here. Lower their arms down. Let's see. They are very similar figures, like ridiculously the same. There's just slight differences. So where one of these guys has, it feels like little armor bits that come up further on the sides, this guy doesn't, but then again, it kind of feels like he does. What about the arms? The arms, let's see, that arm is, ooh, is that a freaking hair texture, or is that just, no, that feels like it's a band around his arm, like some sort of bandage or something. Or maybe that's just his clothing. And then I know that one of these guys isn't supposed to be wearing anything, is he? All right. So nothing going on in the shoulders. Actually, their arms feel the same. And then their wrists, let's see. That wrist feels the same. That wrist feels this. Actually, this wrist has something on it. Uh-huh. Drop that. My bad. Okay, so this wrist feels like it's got a little Joe computer on it, or a Cobra computer on it. Maybe that makes him the tactician. Over here on the other side, he doesn't have anything on his other wrist. What about you? Do you have something on your wrist like a little computer? Maybe that can be our hint. Maybe that can be our hint. I did think they would do a better job of sculpting these two people differently, but they didn't really do that. So this one also has a little thing on his left wrist, nothing on his right wrist. So still no way of telling. No way of telling yet. They're matched. They're equal. All right. The butterfly swivel is the same on both of them, is it? Let's see. Yeah, it's the same on both of them. The builds are almost exactly the same. They're basically the same character, at least the same model. A little lazy if you ask me. Hey, let's tell everybody we're giving them unique things, and then give them two of the same exact thing. Yeah, yeah. Remember, I told you guys I was grading this thing harshly because it took 16 months to come out. And if something's going to take 16 months to come out, there can't be anything wrong with it. It's got to be perfect. Okay? So getting these guys back to back. Okay, there's nothing. I can't. The only thing I got is that one of these guys' chests feels a bit heavier, but then again, I feel the other chest and it's the same. They're the same. These are the same figure. We didn't get two individual sculpts. We got two of the same figure with different paint apps. Um, that's a shame. I thought it was going to be a completely different character. Maybe it's in the helmets. Let's see. Maybe the difference is in the helmets. No, there's no difference there on that helmet. Okay, what about you? No difference here with you. His helmet does feel a bit different. Maybe I'm just biased. Oh, no, no difference in the helmets. No difference in the helmets at all. Do you have anything on your upper arm to symbolize rank? Or maybe something attached to your armor to symbolize rank? No. Anything on your upper arm to symbolize rank? No. Anything on the upper arm to symbolize rank? What about your armor? No. All right, we'll talk about these guys together, seeing as they are interchangeable, except for their colors. Which, all right, man, Gunner is the only one that's different, and that's upsetting me. That's upsetting me a little bit. Looking at these guys actually do an in-depth review, they're the same. And I was promised unique molds. Ooh. All right, you guys have already lost 2 points. You've lost a point for not being unique individual molds, and you've lost a point for being very loosey-goosey. Watch this. Look at this nonsense. This is a brand new figure. This is a brand new figure, Hasbro. There shouldn't be this much looseness in my figures, Hasbro. Okay. All right. Sorry, I had to get that out of my system. Um, let's talk about the articulation for these. It's exactly the same as the articulation for the Hiss Gunner, except this guy's got an ab crunch. He's got two joints in his midsection, so he can look back really far and he can look forward really far. Unlike the Gunner who had one of her joints removed. Uh, everything else is the same. You've got that nice side to side action, not so much with the male figures as with the female figure. And anything else is different. We've got a nice holster with a decent gun, and yeah, that's the legs are the same as with the Hiss Gunner that I described. No sculpting in the feet for either. None of these characters have sculpting in the feet. The armor plate on the front is the same. His breastplate is the same as his partner's and the Gunner, except bigger, of course. On the back, it's the same textures all the way around because they're the same people, like they're in the same group. So that's nice. I do like how uniform all of these characters are. Let's go ahead and set these guys off to the side because we are done talking about them, at least when it comes to them overall. My overall rating of these three, because I will be individually, the Gunner gets an 8, the Driver gets an 8, and the Tactician gets an 8. Actually, no, Gunner gets a 9 because she's a female character with double jointed elbows. So she wins on that. But actually, no, these guys get 7s. Okay, I'm not really happy with them. Their textures are okay, but there's nothing to tell the difference texture wise between tactician and gun and driver, which is a shame. Why didn't you do that, Hasbro? I don't know why you couldn't have done that for us. Helped us out there. I know the colors are different, but come on, give us something else. The These guys are very loose, which is not something I expected. This was not something I was ever expecting from the Haslab project. This was something big, Hasbro. This was something expensive, Hasbro. This was something that you took 16 months to get to us, Hasbro. Therefore, I expect perfection because you took enough time for a perfection to occur. Had we gotten this in like, 11 months, okay, yeah, I could excuse the looseness and I would have gotten on to you about not taking longer to fully bake the cake. But instead, it took 16 months and we got nothing but looseness. And that's just annoying. That is just really annoying. And both the driver and the tactician will be getting a 7 out of 10 from me for the fact that they feel like they're used figures I picked up at a store. That's what they feel like. They feel like used action figures, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Thank God they're just one's going to sit in the back of the tank forever and one's going to sit in the driver's seat forever because they are not great at moving around. All right, so let's talk about. I mean, their articulation's great, but getting them to hold poses is difficult with all that looseness. It's just, you pay a lot of money for something, you don't expect the issues like that. All right, now let's move over here. We've got two tiny fists for the gunner, and then we have these four fists here that are all the same size, and all these are for the tactician and the gunner. And great part about them all being the same size is I bet you they're not all the same color, so that's going to be fun for me if I ever decide to change hands on a character. Like, that's not going to be great. So let's go on further and talk about the weapons now. Now we get this. The Oh yeah, that's scrap iron's doohickey. Okay, so the gunner came with some fun things, and I remember these. She came with a shovel for digging latrines, because you're going to make the lowest ranked soldier in your group dig the latrines, and I assume the gunner is the lowest ranked. The hammer here, it's got a cool hammer, and hammers are neat, especially whenever you're doing percussive engineering, which is what I assume this hammer is for. It feels like it's the right shape and size for hammering a tank back into working condition. So there is that. We did not get any sort of tools. I thought we would be getting at least a wrench or something so that you could have them working on it, but we did not get any sort of tools other than the percussive engineering instrument. We also got this really nice gun that has a removable ammo clip. It's got a nice shoulder stock that's got some decent texture on it, but this gun is rubberized. Just it's rubberized. This gun is rubberized. This is a nice little Tommy gun. We've got a cool little, really nice barrel loader underneath it. I wonder if that barrel loader would actually fit into other guns. Let's see. Will you fit into this gun? Did we finally get like a new type of ammo container that we can intercede between guns? No, but you know what? It was worth a dream right there for a second. That was definitely worth a dream. Uh, so we get a nice little Tommy gun or something equivalent. It's got a handle on the front of it, and it's got a thing on the back, and it's slightly bent because it's made of rubber. Yay! Paid $350 for a bunch of rubberized weapons. Rumble, rumble, bitch, bitch, moan. Coming over here, we've got another like assault style weapon. I think it's the same as this one here. Let's see, because they did include some weapons that are exactly the same. Yeah. So our assault style weapons here are the same, and that's something I appreciate. Having guns that are the same makes sense for a battalion who all work together. You have to, recycle rounds. You got to share them amongst your allies. There we go. We got three guns that are exactly the same as one another. That's really nice. I do like it when the guns are the same. I don't necessarily like it when the other things are the same. So, three guns that are the same, plus the big heavy duty Tommy gun thing, and a bunch of fists, a hammer, and a shovel. Not bad. Not a bad haul for weapons at all. They're all excellent little weapons. They, except for the fact that they're rubberized, which is just like, why couldn't you have made them out of hard plastic or even resin? You could have done us proud, Hasbro. You could have done us proud. That's all I'm saying. I also think it's weird that they, oh, well, no, all of these have a bayonet on the end of the barrel. That's what's going on with that long piece. That's a bayonet, and it's an unmovable bayonet. You can't remove it. Now, Hasbro, had you made this gun out of plastic, you could have actually had the bayonet be able to be something that you can just remove and slip on and off with a little twist pull action going on. But no, you cheaped out on us and made these guns out of rubber. I am so satisfied with the Hiss-Tank. Words barely can describe. I gave the Hiss-Tank a 9.5 out of 10, and that was only because since the release, since the announcement of the Hiss-Tank and the Haslab project coming to fruition, Hasbro's released many things since then that have had blast effects, and they've said those blast effects could be Hiss-Tank compatible. Now they use the word could because they didn't want to, they were lying to us, but they didn't want to say they were lying to us. None of them are Hiss-Tank compatible. The little guns on either side, the mini guns, yeah, those can handle the blast effects. But the big guns, the chin guns, the rockets, I was told that your Scrap Iron's blast effects that he came with would be able to work with the rockets in the Hiss-Tank. And I was lied to. And that's a shame. I just, I, for as good as this project is, it feels like they really, really tried hard to drop the ball with the Haslab Hisstank. And my overall rating of these figures is Tactician and Driver, seeing as they're the same exact figure and they're very loose and they feel like figures that I gotten from a garage sale with how loose they feel. Like the legs are the only tightness in them. Everything else above the legs is just loosey goosey. So they each get a 7 out of a possible 10. Like they're decent figures, but actually, no, with the accessory count that they came with, I'm going to drop that down to a 6.5. 6.5 out of 10 for both of them. I know, grading harshly here. Gunner, Gunner gets an 8 out of 10. Gunner gets an 8 out of 10. Gunner came with some great accessories. Gunner has some great textures to her. Gunner also has double jointed elbows for a female figure. Um, she's got not the only. She's the one that you can tell the difference of, and overall, I kind of like her. She stands up a little better than the others, and she's a little more posable than the others because the others are just so loose they won't hold any of their poses right. I say that the Gunner definitely wins out of the three. She is a really nice figure. Even if I wanted her to be as big as Brienne of Tarth, I still appreciate her, and she'll get an 8 out of 10 for being so lovely and awesome. These other two brutes getting 6.5s because they're they're just I'm annoyed with them. I'm really annoyed with them. I'm annoyed with the fact that there's nothing on these guys to separate them from each other. One's supposed to be a different rank than the other, but we don't have any sort of rank insignia. And that's just why? Why don't we have any sort of rank insignia on these guys? You love giving us those fun little things on the upper arm that show rank. An officer badge or something like that. You could have given us one of them with this. You could have done that, Hasbro, and it wouldn't have been a big bother for you. All right. Well, I'm sorry that this review has taken such a negative turn. I just wanted you to know on my honest thoughts and feelings about this as I try my best to not be biased whenever I'm doing this. And yeah, I am a little biased and I'm a little upset that it took over 16 months for the Haslab Hisstank to arrive. So I'm grading them a bit harsher than I would have because I'm expecting if it took 16 months, then it's going to be good, right? And that's what I'm approaching it with. And approaching it with that question, I'm going, they're not as good as they could have been. And that's what I'm going to end here with. They're good, but they could have been better. Thanks for watching, and tune into my channel. Tomorrow, we're going to start our little process on Death Source. So, we're going to talk about Death Source's robot review tomorrow, his transformational Wednesday, and then his dinosaur mode on Thursday. So, if you want to know about robot chickens, turn in on Thursday. And if you want to just know everything that there possibly can be about Death Source, tune in on, tune in tomorrow, and we're going to go over it in depth. Thank you again for watching today's video, and I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Until next Prime. Also, please hit the like button, share on all of your social media accounts, and subscribe. Sharing really goes a long way to helping me get more subscribers. If just one person subscribes to me after you share, then your share was successful in my opinion. If one person looks at my videos after you've shared them, then your share, in my opinion, was successful. So even if you do a little bit, I will appreciate you immensely for it. Thanks again for watching, and may all of you have a Merry Christmas. Until next Prime, bye bye for now.